Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to build vertical bases in Palworld's 1.0 update. This is really nice for bases that you're setting up for breeding due to their ranches taking up a large amount of space. This can also be cool if you have an aesthetic design that you have in mind, but you just don't like the concept of building up high. I'll show you how to do this exactly, as there is a bit of a method to making this a lot easier. And there's a few different strategies that we can use. If you like having a large ground size, it will take up a lot more time due to the amount of walls that you have to build up here, but I typically like to do more of the deck approach here with a skinnier middle section and then building out these platforms like this. And you can get real creative with the setups here because now in the 1.0 update, they have great pathfinding. So if you have a bunch of stuff up on the top and you have stuff down here, they'll actually Bluetooth connect to it and transport items. So you don't have to worry too much, but their pathfinding has been greatly improved. So you can go through and add stuff on the base floor or all the way up on the top floor. This is exceptionally nice on certain bases because you can have a really nice view where normally you would just be seeing different things like that, but then you can also have other tiers like have your farming down low or oil recoveries. Now, I'll build right here just to give you an idea of what we need to do. Now, when it comes to foundations, it's actually kind of interesting because whenever you go to place down a foundation, that will be roughly how long you're able to build out. We need a foundation for this to be able to build outwards, so it will be able to put a couple extra tiles further than it, but you can see here we got past it right here, whereas when we go all the way down here, you can see it cuts right off. So foundation plus 2 roughly will give you the max at the top. So when you're looking to lay a foundation out, you're gonna have to think how far you want it to stretch out here. So I'll just do a little simple one here where we just build a simple platform here of a 3x3 roughly. I guess I'll extend it here because I typically like for building it just to make it as easy as possible to go with either a 2x2 or 1x1. 1x1 will take obviously a lot less time, but if you're gonna build it, it just looks better to go with the 2x2 method because then you have multiple options when you want to do doorways. You can then go with something like this to create like an arc doorway so you can just walk through, or you can go ahead with building a normal doorway and then you can just have like another space there. I just find that it looks a little bit nicer to do it this way here. So you're basically going to build up. I like to do 2 high here, so going like an additional unit up just like that so that we can then just build off of that. So the easy way to do this is build up your first base, and I would recommend just doing this. You can break any of these down by pressing C to swap that over, and then what you're going to do is use double jump boots here, and we're going to climb up on top of it, and then I go ahead with placing down a floor. So you're then going to place these here. I'd like to go about 3, do 3 here, leaving a hole, and then building up. And what I do is once I get up onto the top, I leave the opposite side open so that you can do like a bit of a jumping puzzle to make your way back up so that you don't have to get like stuck down there. So you can see you can like jump from here, you can jump from here. You don't have to do this though because we can also build stairs on the outside. That is another option that we can go with. So if you want to go for that method, you would build the stairs up just like this. We'll do them 2 high and then go with a roof on the side here. And then I like to typically go with something like this and then break open a wall and put a doorway here just to give yourself a way to just get into there. And you can even put it all the way through and put an additional flooring there and just have it so that there's decks all the way around. And then adding on the railings here, it looks something like this. So you have like your little balcony outlook here, and then you got the place where you would set beds and things like that. And then you can also make it so that you can go over onto the other side of the balcony. And I really like this design because I think it looks nice. You can also build these 2 wide and then go with another staircase up so that we can get to the next floor here. So those are like the 2 main ways. If you just want to go with the tower and climb your way through the inside, you can also, under the wooden tab here, use a ladder. Although I find it to be a bit slow compared to jumping your way up, and pals will typically find their way, but you can go this route here just to make things easier. And once you build your way up to the top, then what we can do is build outwards. Now, this is the furthest that this particular setup can go, just due to the way that we set up our foundation. So that's why I mentioned that you can go like 2 across here. So we have a much wider variation than what we started off with. You can see we're kind of funneling out this way. And that's how these structures end up working. So if you want to create a bit more of a width to it, you would just build your foundation a little bit wider. Now, just be mindful that on uneven ground, that may be a little bit more tricky to do, but this is just a general purpose guide. You can figure that out as you continue to go through it, but you're going to know mostly flat places will be the easiest to build. But you can see here we got our way to set up and put our pal beds inside here. They're underneath a roof, and you can even, if you want to be a little cheeky, is you can actually add like a little bunk bed type situation here where you have like, this is a little bit tough, but the pals do figure this out. If you put beds here, they will figure it out. This is easier if you're using a larger size, and again, you can also go with something like the ladder as well. But if you were to set up a bed right up in here and have no ladders attached to it, pals will just sleep below it and get the effects. They connect via Bluetooth to everything in this game. It is pretty cool. So yeah, you see that there. That's just a very basic one. You can build that a lot higher. And what I like to do is build one and then build one across from it and connect them at the top so you can have an even larger radius, because it will require you to build your foundation out, because I built it as far as I could possibly do. And now if as I add more foundation to it, I'll be able to now build the platforms even further, because previously I was not able to do that with the structure not being this wide. But you can see now I put a couple extra structures in and we got 2 further on here. So you can really get a much larger space than you might think if you go and add some more foundations. Now, this does look a little bit silly, so my personal recommendation is to add pillars, which can add a bit of extra support here. Now, they are sometimes annoying to build, but the trick is you're going to want to climb up them and then angle your camera like this, so you can just climb up it and continue to add it, or you can get lucky and drop and fall and add them as you go. This will allow you to build a little bit further if you have a setup that isn't perfectly ideal, but yeah, this just gives you a bit more room to build alongside that. Now, depending on the purposes for your base, like for example on these islands, there's 2 islands in the game. I would recommend setting up bases at either of these just because they come with 2 spots that are going to have 3 oil nodes. I do have a video on how you can place 2 oil nodes on one single one there so that you can get the most out of it. But on like for the ground floor here, I have multiple plantations stacked up there, and I have all my food and stuff. And then we have like our food pals down at the bottom. And what's nice about this is they will sometimes connect and work to things up on the top floor. If it's more than 3 stories high, they will again connect to it and make this a lot easier. So up top I have all the mining, I got some more food stuff here, I got the electricity, and then I have more stuff that's personal to the players. So I got like the player house up here. This is just a way, like I've set up like tons of bases in my time playing this game, so depends on how you like these set up yourself. But for this one here, it is mostly just like the empty tower approach. I went with some that'll have beds on the insides, but that one just has a bedroom up on the top. And this location here is really nice for a base as well. I have one that just has a really beautiful view of every part of the game. So you got the mountains, you got the ice hills there. And with this one, it's more like, this is more of a weird one. I just have this weird setup going on, but we got the beds on the lower floors, then all the utility stuff that I need. Some more stuff like the hot tubs there. And then you go down more and there's the really weird setups. We got the medicine bay there, got more of the windows, and you can get really low, a very glass base here with even further beds. And again, they will connect to these and sleep up top. But this was just a more fun project of one. And then on the outside I have this large deck, and that's where all the work gets done. So this is a bit of a weird base, but you can get weird with it, just whatever fits your fancy. Then I have this base here, which is a high base, but is wider. Now, this one took a lot more time to build just because you have to go further with each wall. And then a nice way to make it easier for your tall pals to get through is when you do it too high, you can actually create a gate like that. Or you can do it this way where you're going to create like the angled piece here. So this is good if you have like a staircase and you still want to have access to go up. And again, beds in here, have the doorways to get out. And then I also have it so that I built up and then have a fence on the outside. So this keeps any of the raids from coming towards our base. So it is very secure, but yeah, most of the business gets done on the lower floors of this one. And then my Hexalite base here is kind of a silly one. Yeah, basically what we got going on here is a super tall tower because it just has a really nice view. So yeah, with this setup here, you just can see everything from it. So that's why you want to build the tall bases here. Just lets you get a much different view of the game. And for this particular setup, I just want the beds in the center. So I like to have like the sleeping quarters be there. And then we just have a tall base, more so for the view here, because this is a really nice place to look at. And then I have pretty much all the stuff happening out here. I have my own combat area. So again, you can see it only will relate to whatever size of a base that you currently have. So you do have to be mindful of that. So I just come up here to do a bit of the training stuff. But yeah, we have everything on the ground here, but we still have a very large base. And you can also get pretty creative here. Like this isn't perfect. I was trying to build on one of these spires here because you can build downwards by using pillars and then going down and laying down walls. So I actually built this starting off from right here and worked my way entirely down. So you can do some pretty crazy stuff when you do bases in the sky like this. Another example, I have another one over here where I try to go over like the crystal. But again, it isn't as easy as it looks. So I would recommend mostly keeping these to the ground. But yeah, you can do some pretty cool stuff, especially if there's a setup like you want to go to an expedition here. And yeah, you can even see my other bases in the area. So yeah, that is how to build a vertical base in Palworld's 1.0 update. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you in the next one.